These are the Z Star golf balls for 2025. I've already got a video out on the wedges and how they spin with a small shot and a full shot with a wedge, but I'm going to give them a hit with the irons, see what the difference is, see what the different heights are, see what the different spins are, and then I'm going to chop them open and see what's inside. Now you might think, oh, a golf ball can't make that much difference, but it absolutely does. There's different compressions inside the ball, so different speeds will react in different ways. There's different dimple designs which will affect the aerodynamics in the air. There's different thicknesses of the outer cover which will change how they interact with a wedge, and it will give us different ball flights with different areas of the golf bag. Now some golf balls that spin more, for example, spin more with every club in the bag because they're designed to. Some golf balls spin more with a wedge and an iron, but then they lose spin with a driver because of the way that they're designed. Now over the last few years there has been a few varying points within the Z Star range. 2 years ago we had the Z Star with a 3-piece and the Z Star XV as a 4-piece, and they separated a lot more. There was a bigger difference in the difference between those golf balls, and so far in the wedges the difference is a little bit closer together with the Z Star and the Z Star XV, but I saw more separation in the Diamond. Now the Diamond was introduced a little bit late in the 2023 model of golf ball, and it was introduced for Brooks Koepka because he specifically wanted certain things to happen with his golf ball. Now if you've got a strong part of your game and you really want to like make the most of that part, we can use a golf ball that encourages the strongest part of your game without losing too much at the weakest part of your game, for example. And I do prefer the idea of targeting the strong areas of your game first, and I absolutely encourage using the same golf ball as often as possible. I like to work out the average yardage with each club in my golf bag, and if I change my golf ball, my average yardage changes. So if I go out on a Saturday with a Pro V1 and then I go out on a Sunday with an AD 333, it's not going to do the same thing. But here I'm just hitting the Srixon Z Star for 2025, and I'm drop kicking it. That was an awful swing. This is a better swing. Yeah, balances off a bit. But I'm generally looking at the change in behaviour with the golf ball. I think the Z Star Diamond might have a bit more difference this year than we had last year. And you've got scenarios of some of the guys on tour where you might have 3 players that use the Pro V1, for example, but one player uses this year's ball, one player uses the 2019 ball, and another player uses the 2013 Pro V1, because they are different. They're not exactly the same golf ball. They change the formula, they change the dimple pattern, they change the number of layers in the golf ball. Pure. So there's a peak height that the ball reaches. If it goes higher, it can get affected by the wind more. If there's a golf ball that has a lower peak height, it might be more beneficial if you play on a links course. But let's jump into the Z Star Diamond. Now on these 2025 balls, the main difference that I would use to like depict whether it's a 2025 ball is that the arrows are filled in grey. If I grab a 2024 ball, the arrows are empty. So now we've got the Z Star Diamond for 2025. God, I'm swinging it bad. All right, come on. I'm going through a swing change, bear with me. If I break it down, I do this, I do this, I do this. Better. Even better. Nice. Now when you're making swing changes, you've got to commit to it, but that's a separate issue. There we go, nice and neutral, a little bit more spin. Drop and stop, rolling down the hill. Go on then. Wow, nearly. Looking good. Let's go Z Star XV. It'll be interesting to see the inside of these golf balls as well, just to see like, they're like the thickness cover and the different layers within the golf ball. There are different compressions, so the inside of the Z Star is slightly softer, but it is by no means soft. The Z Star XV is a firmer core, so with less speed you won't get the core to compress and release off the face as much. With faster speeds it will keep up with that pace and release more. Not bad, not bad. So Z Star XV definitely sounds a bit higher pitched, feels a bit harder. Once I'm using a golf ball, I won't notice that noise or that compression or that hardness as much. While I'm flicking from one ball to another, it's easier to go, oh, that's harder, that's softer. Nice. Just want to go a few more with the Z Star because I hit that first and it's not fair if I'm colder. Nice. I'm swinging it better than I was on the first couple. I might even ignore the first few shots and just use these ones. Yep. Drop and stop. Not bad, not bad. They all feel delightful. What's the difference inside? So, let's get the Z Star. I'll try and get it quite central. So we cut into here. And inside the Z Star we have two pieces. One outer layer, one inner layer. I swear that's supposed to be 3. Okay, so I actually got that very wrong. It looks like it's a 2-piece golf ball, but when you actually, I have to like apply a little bit of heat here to get this to separate, but there is a 3rd layer just on this outside of the golf ball. That outer layer is very, very thin, and the sort of like softness of that urethane material will interact with your wedges delightfully. We've got the Z Star XV, which is a firmer core golf ball, and it looks a little bit bigger like in terms of like the thickness here, but the outer layer is extremely thin. The inner core of the XV and the Z Star look to be the same sort of colour, but the inside of the XV is much firmer, so this doesn't squash down as much. When you have a bigger core, it gets to the outside of the golf ball and the moment of inertia will be different. If with a smaller core, more density inside the head, there's lighter material on the outside, it will change performance. But here's last year's Srixon Z Star compared to this year's Srixon Z Star. They have changed the formula of the inside of the golf ball. The only way I can tell that is by a different colour. The outside of the ball looks quite similar, but it does look a little bit thinner in the 2025 ball, which means the core is bigger. But if we come and have a look at the data on here, first thing I want to point out is the peak height. The peak height here is 106, 105 with the Z Star XV and the Z Star Diamond. Ooh, so they're slightly lower on those two. The Z Star is definitely a higher peak height. We're going 111 on average. So it reaches a higher point. So in the wind, XV and Diamond are winning. And on the wedges, we actually had a bigger difference in the Diamond compared to the other two. So when we go to this area of the game, we get a separation on a different ball, which is always fun. Angle of descent is exactly the same on Z Star XV and Z Star Diamond, 46.4, 46.4, 47.2 on the Z Star, so it's a higher peak height and a steeper landing angle. Ball speeds all pretty similar. We've got Z Star, Z Star XV, Z Star Diamond. Ball speeds all about the same, slightly slower on the Z Star. Harder cores in the XV and the Diamond probably mean just that little bit more rebound, and I'm talking like minimal, but there is a little bit more. Higher launch up here in the Z Star, lowest in the Diamond. Spin rates all quite similar, but higher spin in the Diamond. So higher spin on the wedges with the Diamond and higher spin on the irons with the Diamond. But it's doing that higher spin at a lower peak height. We get a little bit more height and less spin on the Z Star, which probably means it goes further. Where are we? Okay, it's not further than the XV, but it could lean that way for some. We're slightly shorter on the Z Star Diamond because we have more spin. I would much prefer to see this for myself because I want the ball to get into the green and stop. At retail, I'm aiming for about 5,500 spin for every sort of like fitting that I'm going for. If you get lower spin than that, the ball will travel further, but then you will struggle to hit your long irons. Tour players are looking for up to 7,000 spin because they're playing in different conditions. They're landing on harder greens. They want the ball to stay where it is once it lands. But we're coming into this area. I'm happy with all of these. I could use any of these golf balls very well. I'm leaning towards the Diamond because I prefer that extra spin. If you want the ball to go that little bit further without spinning too much, with your irons, we're looking here. I'm going to do another video on the driver, so we'll see what the difference is on the driver spin rates. But we're looking tidy all round. And then the dispersion rings are quite similar to each other as well. It's not like, I mean, a golf ball's not going to like throw itself sideways. The variance in there is mostly me. And then unfortunately I've used the black line, but the black line is just slightly higher here and landing steeper. The other two are quite similar to each other, with the white one, which is the Z Star XV, being that just that little bit higher. Z Star Diamond the lowest. But do stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to have a look at the drivers to see what the difference is in distance, speed and all that sort of stuff. Go backwards one if you want to see the wedges, and I'll see you on the other videos.